Hey guys, so I hope that everybody's been doing great. Today for in between the stream, we're going to be working on the non-metallic metal for the gun and the backpack. I'm probably going to do another video for the face because I very much would like to be done with this miniature this week. So probably Monday, Wednesday, we're going to be finishing the knife, the gun holder, and the base. So for now, we're working on non-metallic metal silver and non-metallic metal black for the gun case. I've not decided what I'm going to do with the wing skull that there's there. Technically, if you look at the box art, they actually did it gold. However, I'm not sure if I will be doing gold or not on this thing. We'll see as we go. So I'm going to start the playlist in just a second here. And then I'm going to be explaining some of the prep work that I've done for this. All right. So this is what the wet palette currently looks like. Let me adjust the camera for a second. So alright, you might not be able to see it because of the glare that's going on, but what I have here, basically, this is black, this here is titanium white. Here is a pre-mixed mix of black titanium and titanium white, going from like almost pure black to almost, well, to very light gray. And you might not see it in the shade, but I've actually added some blue in there, because if it's silver non-metallic metal, it should be fairly reflective, and because everything around it is blue, there should be some blue reflections in there. So over here we've got a mix of a little bit of black and a color that I've never used yet, which is dark warm gray from Pro Acryl. So this is going to be for non-metallic metal black, this is going to be for non-metallic metal silver. So I'm putting this on the side, and let's look at the state of the mini as we speak. So there was quite some progress on last week's stream. The gold is pretty much done or close to be done. Shoulder pads are also pretty much done. There's still some work to be done, but this mini will hopefully be done this week. So let's work on this. And as always, I'm not a NMM pro, not very experimented with it, so a lot of this comes down to experimentation for me. So I'm going to start with our black or almost black color that I'm going to put everywhere where I want. That NMM silver. Now some of these angles are going to be really hard for you to see on camera. I'm sorry about that. It's the reality of what we're currently painting. I'm going to do everything I can to bring this decently with a camera angle. Now there's one important thing that you've got to keep in mind when painting like NMM and highly reflective surface is where's the light. Now I noticed in between the stream that I kind of lost track of this on the shoulder pads. So in this case it's going to be a lesson learned that I'm going to be applying for basically next time. Live and learn, as they say. But it's the type of things that you need to keep track of when you're trying to work on these techniques. Also notice I forgot some mold lines here on the backpack. Not the end of the world, but still. And I also drilled the gun barrel, so I do not get the wrath of the internet about this thing. Okay, so this one I think is pretty much on its way. There's a little bit of NMM silver that I want to get going on this skull here, so I'm going to do that as well. Alright. Off to the main gun. Got to be a lot more careful here, because there's a lot of glue work that we've done on this that I kind of don't want to die to kill. So here I'm going to be a little bit more careful. What is going to be visible with that gun? Yeah, the back is not going to be visible. So I'm going to put a base coat on it, but I'm not going to be caring about it, because it will not receive a lot of light anyway, so. As you may notice, I'm not being overly careful with basically the gun case, like this part here. This is going to be NMM black. We're going to come back, if needed, to this. Clean it up after. Okay. A little bit here. Well, the focus is not great, huh? Let me fix this. Okay, this should be better. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to stay on cam, but it sometimes is a little bit hard. Painting on cam is definitely not the same thing as painting off cam. Okay. We've got things in control here. Let that dry for a second. Clean off the brush. I'm going to mix a little bit more in my palette so I get a better intermediate tone going. Because right now I'm going from pretty dark black to middle tone gray kind of pretty fast. So I'm working the palette a little bit more to get a bit more of a middle tone. Alright, this is going to be better. And I'm going to do this as I go. So instead of having like 3 shades right now on the palette, my palette looks a lot more like it's like 4 or 5 shades with the mix that I currently made. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, so I'm calling Games Workshop Layer Brush. And we're going to go back on the places that we were with the middle tone that we just mixed. I'm adding some water on this. That's going to be some glazing. So I'm loading the brush as usual. I'm damping it. Now, the tone that I've just done is actually pretty dark. So it's important to go easy here. And this is going to be multiple coats, evidently. And it's important to not overwork that paint. Now the backpack is going to be a little bit awkward to paint on camera here. Not overworking this is like your most important task at this point. And it's important to always pull the paint towards where you want it to be. Otherwise you're going to get like stain effect and that type of things. Interestingly, the effect is already starting to build up, and we're still at a pretty early step of this. You might not be able to see it on the cam, but it is starting to show, which is pretty interesting. Okay. Do some work on that knife. Now this is a middle tone, but let's not forget that it is brighter. So we already need to start considering this a little bit as if it was highlights. Actually, middle tone might not be the good term to describe this. It's a little bit misleading because it's not exactly metal. It's much darker. Okay, so let's not forget to think about our light. If we're looking at the model, the brightest light comes from this side here. So the gun should be lit that way as well, meaning the brighter tones should be on this side here. Means I also need to be careful into how I'm pulling on the paint. Otherwise it's not going to sell the effect. Okay, so this I'm going to let dry because I don't want to build the texture on it. But that was a little bit too much paint. Not going to bother about the other side of the gun, as I said earlier. The gun has very small transition, so we've got to be careful about this. We've got to be thoughtful about that as well. Still, I'm going to do some work on the tip of the gun for this side here. Not much though. Okay. Have I forgotten something? I don't think. We're ready to go for our next turn. So, as I said, I'm going to continue working the palette, mixing the middle tone that we had just now with the next one, and getting something that's just slightly lighter without being the overpowering. Bring this off cam here. There we go. So the tone that I'm going to be working with now looks like this here. So as you can see, it's gray. There's quite some blue in there actually. I'm going to add some water to it. And rinse and repeat. Now this is very thin color. It's almost just water basically. Removing the excess paint from the brush. Important to not overwork this thing. If you do overwork it, it's not going to work. Just putting paint on this, and that tone we're going to come back with a second coat. Now, because that paint is really wet, it's going to be extremely important to be careful where we put our fingers. Actually, because this is very black, I'm going to put a white cardboard under. I'm sorry if this might be blinding to you, but I think it's going to be better for the camera and for viewing. So let me adjust the focus here. Alright. So you can let me know in the comment what you think of the whiteboard here when I'm painting something darker. I'm very much interested in knowing if you guys think it's helpful or not. I think it will be helpful, but at least for the camera. It's actually blinding myself, so I'm not sure I'm going to keep this. That was a little bit too much paint. Need to let it dry. That's my song. As you can see, my brush is starting to give up on me. The tip is splitting.
I wished upon a star last night and thought of you, but it must have been a dream, 'cause you're not here. I've never been one to believe in fairy tales or fantasy, but perhaps it's time for a change of mind. I guess there's a first for everything. We found love, we had a fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what would come of us if we could trade these ends for beginnings. I'm drinking from an empty cup. The hardest part of young love is growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. Now there's one less star in the city.
Basically, this whole process is how patient can you be? And may the most patient person win. Removing that whiteboard because it's blinding me big time and I'm not able to paint with this. I'm sorry, guys.
I saw a shooting star last night and thought of you, but I woke up from a dream and you're not here. We fell in love, we had a fun. You always had enough dreams for
Do not overwork that paint. I cannot say this enough.
come of us, 'cause now there's one less star in the
If you overwork it, you're getting ugly stuff on there. Okay. Dagger.
We fell in love, we had a fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what would come of us if we could trade these ends for beginnings. I'm drinking from an empty cup. The hardest part of young love was growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. I can't keep living without you, but I'll wait and someday join you in the stars. But for now, I can't keep thinking about you, 'cause
I might have a little bit too much paint on my brush right now.
now there's one less star in the city. Can't keep living without you, but I'll wait and someday join you in the stars. But for now, I can't keep thinking about you, 'cause I can't find my way. 'Cause now there's one
Okay, so I did. This is not exactly clean. I don't like that. I'm going to come back to it once it's dry. The camera might show up nicely, but it's not that nice actually. Okay, the effect is starting to show. In the end, I kind of like that here. I'm going to probably keep it as is. Cleaning the brush. We're moving on towards brighter color. Switching brush, I'm continuing my kind of mixing that I've got going. Now we're starting to get towards a much lighter tone at the moment. Our next stone, I'm going to put it side by side here. So it is lighter. Blue is showing a lot more as well. I'm now going with another coat of the previous stone. Yeah, that's going to be good. Adding water to my mix. Not too much. Removing the excess paint from the brush. That might be the actual most important part of this. Not removing the excess paint. Things are not going to go well for you. Now this mini I realize is going to be really, really dark. This is because of how dark I started my base tone and all of these. It comes a little bit from my inexperience with non-metallic metal, but it's a learning experience for me as well, so next one will be better.
Paradigm.
This one will probably require 2 coats, maybe more.
We are a perfect paradigm, tracing the patterns in your eyes, making me wonder every time, how could our love be so divine? When the world shines, you'll have a hand to hold. When the light fades, you'll have a place to go. You'll have a place to go. You'll have a place to You'll have a place to go.
Okay. Have I done the knife? This stone? Not sure. Need to go and just be sure. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did aim on this. Okay. Done. Now when you're doing this, you have to mix a lot more paint than what you think is going to be required. Because damping the brush, like every time, actually ends up using a lot of material. All right. Important to keep in mind to not overwork the paint. You're much better coming back with another coat later than to overwork it. Sometimes you kinda have to refrain yourself though. Effect is starting to build up. It's looking good. Exactly what we want. Give a quick pass on this side. So get something interesting going. Cleaning the brush. Let's have a quick look in contrast with the actual miniature. See how it looks like. So, this is how they look side by side. Can go a lot brighter than this. Okay, so I'm mixing into the next tone. I do realize I keep saying I'm going to do 2 coats at every stage, and I'm not exactly doing this. Now I'm going back one stage back here. Some blending. Okay, bad idea. I'm not doing this. This brush is definitely dead. Look at the tip here. We've got the double tip. I'm going to have to get a new brush before I stream tomorrow. But this one's dead. Actually, I said that, but I'm just going to prep the Coracryl brush I have. Okay, so our next tone is a lot brighter. I'm going to say this again. We might go for 2 coats of that one. Don't know if I'll ever do those actual 2 coats, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. Just placing paints basically at this point. Put paint where you think it's going to look good. Right, it's a cool technique. It's nice, but don't get bogged down. This is colors. Does it look good? Does it not look good? This is what it boils down to. In the end, who cares if it looks good? Like, if it does look good and if you had fun doing it, who gives a shit that it's not accurate? Should be hard. to remove some paint from that brush. Okay, this one is coming out a little bit too strong. Some of my paint was also not extremely dry, so I'm unwillingly building a little bit of texture there. And this comes from my noobness in this technique. Okay, clean this brush a little bit. Go work on the knife. Damping the brush a little bit. Starting to work on the highlights a little bit more. Okay, done time. Cleaning the brush. And this is already a lot brighter than the previous tone. We do need to start being careful into how we're applying this. I think it's going to sell the effect though. It's not going to be smooth though. Got a lot more work to do to become a very smooth brush painter. Not gonna be the worst ever. Or worse. Always depends. Not everybody defines smooth as being good. I like that. It's rougher, but I kind of like it. Starting to sell the effect pretty nicely, actually. Look at that, kind of works. Not forget to damp the brush. Yeah, the tip here is going to be what's going to cause me the most issues. I'm not feeling the kind of the visor here at the end of the gun.
I break the chains that you pull away. I feel the fear when you look at me. Oh, we've had enough of love. Is this not enough? Is this not enough? Is this not enough? Feel my heartbeat. Feel it deep inside.
Okay. If you come back and do a little bit more work on the tip. No, not more than that. I don't want to destroy it. Starting to be there. Looks good. I like that. Okay, let's look at how this thing looks like. So the backpack is the thing that looks the worst right now. I'm still going with it. I mean, this was a test meeting anyway, so. Okay, mixing the next shade. Adding some water to it. And don't forget that this is like my maybe third or fourth attempt at NMM. So, yes, I'm doing pretty well. Someone who's not used to that type of technique. Like, there's a reason why I'm using an airbrush. And that is precisely the reason. Okay, this is going to come up maybe a little bit too white, but we'll see. I'm willing to take the risk. This is a test mini. Acoustic version of my favorite song. Oh yeah, that works, even if it's very, very bright.
I wished upon a star last night and thought of you, but it must have been a dream, 'cause you're not here. I've never been one to believe in fairy tales and fantasies, but perhaps it's time for a change of mind. I guess there's a first for everything. Oh, we fell in love, we had a fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what would come of us if we could trade these ends for beginnings. I'm drinking from an empty cup. The hardest part of young love is growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. Now there's one less star in the city. Now there's one less star in the city. I saw a shooting star last night and thought of you, but it must have been a dream, 'cause you're not here.
Got dry tip here. So I'm currently running into the problem I was describing earlier, where I haven't mixed enough paint. I keep getting bitten by this. Because when you do NMM type techniques, you need a shit ton of the color you're going to be working with. Like literally a shit ton. Because damping the brush ends up using so much paint. Supported us. This as for beginnings.
Drinking from an empty cup. The hardest part of your love was growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city.
Okay, so the dot at the back come out really bright, but it kind of works. So I'm going to leave that be. The next step is going to be even brighter. What I'm doing here, I think, might be the actual last highlight step before I'm going for like full-blown white.
Keep living without you, but
I don't know. We'll see.
someday join you in the stars. But for now, I can't keep thinking about you, 'cause I can't find my way. 'Cause now there's one less star in the city.
Okay. Gun time.
You paint a picture in my mind. You wanna leave it all behind. In a world that's turning.
It's funny because as I'm painting this right now, I'm looking at the stuff I'm currently painting and I'm picking up some of the mistakes I've done. That comes from, like, they're technical mistakes. Like, if you look at this plate here, the highlight should be slightly different than what it is, because if you look at the sun and how it falls down on objects, that one is not, like, quite right. Like, the gradient looks good, but someone who's into ultra realism, paint-wise, would say that this is garbage. In this case here, I'm not going to care about that, but they would be right.
This lake of fire burns my skin. How could love wear so thin? I'm sinking in the hollow ground. Nothing can stop me wanting you somehow. I won't let it die. I can feel you when you're not around.
Okay, the effect is kind of sold here. That works. It's not the best NMM ever, but the effect works.
We won't be alone.
Even though the mix is kind of harsh, which is kind of fun. Shows that you don't want to spend tens and tens of hours getting one very smooth blend. Okay. So this is coming along nicely. I'm going to take a quick pause because one of you guys actually sent me a message just now. So I'm going to stop the recording and I'll start back in a second. Okay, so I am back. Sorry for this interruption. We're now going to add a lot of white to the previous mix that we had on the gray. This is giving me kind of a dirty white. Like it's almost gray. It's almost pure white, but just a slightly, very slightly gray. I'm going to give you a quick show as to how this shade looks. So as you can see, it's almost pure white, but it's not. So I'm going to clean the brush a little bit more. I think I know why the tip is splitting. I've got some paint that went up in the ferrule. So I'm going to give this a bit of a clean right now, because if I can save it, I will.
You said I was the only one you've ever really wanted.
Yeah, I think I destroyed that brush. Yeah, it cost me a brush. I'm going to use it still to finish, but that one's going in the garbage after. Okay, so picking up a little bit of that kind of very, very light gray, we're just going to do a couple of highlights there. Not much, just a little bit. That really is selling the effect here.
I try to leave, you sink your hooks right into me. You'd rather see me bleed.
My brush is destroyed. It's bugging me big time. So I'm going to switch brush. Going with Monument Balmwick, size 1. Okay, hopefully this is going to be better. Definitely is better. And the don't overdo it rule kind of applies here as well. The effect is starting to appear pretty nicely.
it's Syndicate. Boss fight.
Yo, hey, you don't wanna fight with a boss. Left, right, and I'm writing you off. Spit 16 and
That
writing you
works.
off. I'm done with the hype you lost.
At least with the silver.
Waving away next. You man
Metal
are
is
like
not
you
done,
Rex. You don't
and
wanna
I'm
fight
actually
like
going to
you
have to
makes sense.
do another video
Bench, I don't really care
for
if you make sense. I'm
the
not
black
killer on mic.
part.
EMCs and I kill 'em on sight. Kill 'em on dubstep, kill 'em on grime. Kill 'em on quick and still 'em on time. Hey,
Because I'm going to run out of time here.
kill 'em online.
I don't wanna talk, no, I don't wanna chat, yeah, I just wanna roll. Get that money in the bank and start that, give me that flow. It's a roadblock thing when we turn up to the show. We keep bringing the madness, ready, set, go. We keep bringing the next wave. We keep bringing the next wave. We keep bringing the next wave, bringing the next wave, bringing the next wave, 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 next wave. We keep bringing the madness, ready, set.
Backpack.
Do this thing on the next wave. Two shots of that finest, put that burn up in my chest. I get too cocky with rhyming talent God gave me, I'm blessed. I'm too toxic and grimy, virus born out of my breath. Now them bright lights are all blinding, guess I'm all out of my depth. I'm rock star and rivaled hypers, Hulk Hogan, I'm stead. In one full motion, my soul open like bullet holes in your legs. I get fucked over, pulled over, them cops hoping I'm dead. I'm on road trying to get fed, smoking zone out of my head. I don't wanna talk, no, I don't wanna chat, yeah, I just wanna roll. Get that money in the bank and start that, give me that flow. It's a roadblock thing when we turn up to the show. We keep bringing the madness, ready, set, go. We keep bringing the next wave. We keep bringing the next wave. We keep bringing the next wave.
As you see, I avoided the middle here. It's not normal that the middle should not be highlighted. It's kind of under.
Go. Bringing the madness. Give me that. Do this thing on the next wave.
Okay. So we've got the effect here. Kind of like it. I'm happy with the gun. I like it. The skull came out pretty well as well. Skull is nice. Probably the part that I'm the least happy with is the backpack. Could be better, I guess, but it's not bad either. Whatever. It's not done because I still need to do the highlight on all the blues and everything. So we'll see. All right. So this is going to be the end of this specific video. I'm going to release a couple of videos this week. This is not going to be the only video released this week. So on this, I hope that you guys had a good time, and I will see you later. Thank you. Bye.